Hello and happy Hump Day. It is Wednesday, which means Hump Day Q&A. On Hump Day Q&A, let me just adjust that a little bit, yeah. On Hump Day, I like to have a topic or a question maybe that someone has asked me, or a topic that someone has asked me. Hi! And I'll answer questions or just discuss a topic. So if you ever want to suggest a topic or you have a question, just let me know, and I won't, of course it'll be anonymous. I won't say who asked it, and I'll just do a video on Wednesday about it. Oh, hi! You're gonna love today's topic. This week's topic is pregnancy when it comes to sex and or kink when you're pregnant. I know I said that my friend Megan would be joining me tonight. Unfortunately, she is not well today. Hi. She's not well today, so we're totally going to do a rain check. I got a couple of rain checks. I'm going to get to them. And no joke, this was like fairly last minute. It's okay, Megan, we love you. Mwah. Feel better. And I was trying to contact like other parents or people that I knew that had been pregnant that would be comfortable talking about sex or kink. And I was like, I couldn't come up with many within like driving distance. It happens. And I was like, a lot of my friends don't have kids. But no, this is actually a topic I'm so nerdy and really passionate about. I have carried 2 babies to full term. And I have played with sex and kink while pregnant. I mean, a lot of us do. I don't know, there's like this assumption, I know we talked about this on the topic of menopause, that there's like this assumption that people post-menopause just don't have sex, or that people that are pregnant don't have sex. And it's like, we are sexual beings. That's our primary, the most like primal instinct that we have is sex, even when you're pregnant. So I don't think this topic is discussed enough because, yeah, there's that assumption that people don't have sex when they're pregnant, and that's not true. So feel free on the live video here to ask whatever questions or add whatever input that you have. Feel free to challenge me on stuff. Like, I'm all over it. So let's go into it. I'm just going to start. I'll start with a story. With my first pregnancy, I remember talking to my midwife. I always had a ton of questions for her. She was really great. And one of the first questions I had asked was like, okay, in terms of not just like sex, but also kink, because I'm a kinky person, like what's okay and what's not. And she was really great. She said, you know what? I actually don't have an answer for you now. Let me look into it and I'll have more answers for you at our next appointment. And she did. Like, she had obviously done research and had a ton of answers for me at our next appointment. And I thought that was really great. I thought that was really cool of her and very open-minded to just go and do some research and have answers for me. I will remind everyone I have a nursing background, so there's that. But yeah, at the same time, actually, I originally, when I went to nursing school, I wanted to go into maternity. That was my first goal, but I don't know if I want to go into that, but basically what I learned about maternity when we did that subject, I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to delve into that world, because the way that Western medicine treats pregnant people is kind of the opposite of what they really need. So that's like a whole rant that I'm not going to go on, but I ended up not going into maternity for a few reasons. But anyways, so I do have to say, of course, that every experience, every pregnancy, even every day when you're pregnant can be different. So everyone's different. Every pregnancy is different. I'm only speaking on my personal experiences. That was one of the reasons I wanted someone else here. It's okay, Megan, don't feel bad. We'll get to you at some point. But Megan and I, we were pregnant around the same time for our first babies, and we had totally different pregnancies, like really complete opposite experiences, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, she had like this I mean, I can't really speak for her, but to my perception, she was always like, oh, I feel so great, and like I have all this energy, and I don't feel really sick. And I was like, because I thought the pregnancy was going to be like this, you know, fertility goddess, transformative, beautiful earth mother experience. And for me, it really, really wasn't. I had very rough pregnancies, but I still managed to have some fun when possible. So sex drive can be very, very different for every person, for every day, honestly. Another parent I talked to said, she said that she had like zero sex drive throughout her entire pregnancy. She said, I was just sick and uncomfortable the whole time. I just didn't even want to do anything. And that's fine. You have to obviously respect that person's boundaries. It kind of sucks, but like, that's the way it is. Personally, I felt like mine would like kind of do this. There were times when I was like really, really into it and times where I was like, don't fucking touch me. Yeah. In terms of sex, you can have sex. I mean, this is, again, I should probably start with some kind of like disclaimer. Go see a doctor if you have questions. I can't really give medical advice. Blah, blah, blah. Everyone's different. I mean, this is due to my medical background plus my personal experience, but go see a doctor if you're not sure. Don't sue me, basically. Especially, yeah. I lost my train of thought. So I'm gonna have some wine because I'm not pregnant. Yeah. Okay. It is safe to have sex when you're pregnant, assuming your doctor, OB, midwife, whoever says it's fine. And it's fine. I know there's like, if you've seen Knocked Up, you know, Seth Rogen has like this moment where he freaks out and he's like, there's gonna be this penis coming in and out and it's gonna be like the first thing the baby sees. And it's funny, but like that's not how it works. If anything, in my personal experience, I found whenever I had sex and I was pregnant, I could tell, I mean, the further pregnant you are, I could tell my baby would go to sleep. Like movement would stop, and I asked my midwife about it and she was like, yeah, the rocking of like the sex is actually rocking your baby to sleep and is quite soothing and comforting. So I was lucky in that in terms of sex, I found it wasn't as much of a distraction because I couldn't feel any baby movements. It would usually stop because the baby would go to sleep. So that's a thing, although I've heard some people claim the opposite, that because of like the increased heart rate and all the like endorphins and hormones and everything that's flowing, that it gets the baby kind of excited and they get moving. Either way, baby's safe, I promise. The baby is in the uterus, not in the vagina. If you're like introducing stuff in the vagina, that's not anywhere really near the baby. It's fine, baby's safe. So in terms of just like sex in general, it's fine. I do want to say certain things that are really important, which is, and I'm non-monogamous. I do have several partners, and so that's something to consider if you have other sexual partners or if you're not monogamous, whatever, and you're pregnant. If you have an STI when you get pregnant, that is something that you and your doctor / OB / midwife, whatever, can deal with. It's usually not a big deal. If you contract an STI while pregnant, that's where things get risky for the baby. So it's important to do your best to avoid contracting an STI while pregnant. So as someone who's non-monogamous, the rule that myself and Brandon, my co-parent, we kind of discussed it. Usually we're just like, whoever you want, it's fine, like it's your body, go for it. But while pregnant, we kind of agreed that we didn't, neither of us wanted to have any new partners while I was pregnant. We decided to continue with our current partners. We said it was fine, but we would need to use all the barriers and just be extra careful. Again, because having an STI when you're pregnant is something you can deal with. Contracting it while you're pregnant is particularly dangerous for the baby. So that is something to consider when it comes to being non-monogamous and having a baby. Also consider, if you're trying to have a baby, to talk to your other partners about that and be like, by the way, this is something that we're doing. Accidents, surprises do happen. My second I mean, we were kind of planning on having a baby soon, but I had an IUD. I know it's rare, and I got pregnant with an IUD. I was non-monogamous at the time, and I did have sex with a cis man around the time that I got pregnant. It's fine. He had had a vasectomy, and we used a condom, so we were pretty sure it wasn't him. But I did have to tell him, hey, by the way, I am pregnant. And he was like doing the math when he asked how long, and it was like the conception date was like a few days apart from when we'd had sex. It was fine. We weren't too worried, but it was like a little in the back of our minds. And I remember on the way home from the hospital texting him and being like, by the way, I know we weren't too concerned about it, but the baby looks nothing like you. It looks a lot like my co-parent Brandon. And he was like, this is the best text message I've ever received in my life. So fun story, fun story. So those are things to consider if you're not monogamous, because, you know, you don't always think about that. Okay, kink. Feel free to just hit me up with questions if you come up with them, or any thoughts you want to share, any stories. I'm all for it. I love this topic. Here's the big stuff. Kink. I'm going to go over essentially what I was advised and also what I would advise others. I know, that's a great story, right? Okay, kink-wise, because I had told my midwife, I said, I really enjoy receiving pain. Is that okay? And she had said, if you are enjoying it, it's okay. We're talking just the pain alone. If you're enjoying the pain, it's okay. It's causing happy endorphins, happy whatever. Baby's probably gonna love it too. That's okay. As long as you're not in like serious like stress or distress in any way. I wouldn't play with like fear play or anything that causes too much adrenaline, because adrenaline, think about this, adrenaline causes I'm sure you're familiar with like the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system. Maybe not. Google it. It's cool. Basically, it means like when your adrenaline is running, certain functions of your body pause for a moment. You know, we gasp, we hold our breath, our digestion stops, certain part of our body kind of freezes because it wants to save and preserve that energy so that we can run away from a predator. That's what happens when we're really scared or full of adrenaline. That only lasts like a moment or two for an adult human being. For the baby inside, that is going to last about half an hour. And that means not just digestion and stuff has stopped for the baby, it means that development has stopped. I don't want to freak you out. If it happens once or twice throughout your pregnancy, it's not a big deal. If you're doing it every day, that can actually lead to slower development, a lower birth rate, birth weight when your baby's born, like that kind of thing. So that's why it's important not to be super stressed out. So if you're pregnant, please don't play with things like fear play or anything that is too adrenaline crazy scaredness. If it's pain that you're enjoying and that it feels good, that's okay. Okay, so we've covered pain. That's like, we're gonna just put that over there. Unless you have more questions, I'm gonna move on. Hi everyone. Hi Christy. Oh, you've had kids. Please help me out here. Please add whatever you want to add, because I'm just speaking with stuff. Okay, breath play. Anything where you're like obstructing airflow or blood flow to the brain, just don't go there. It's really not good for the baby. I'm sorry, I know it can be really fun, don't do it. There's other stuff. Yeah, I got a whole list, but yeah, Christy, feel free to join in. Here's another one that I didn't necessarily expect, but totally makes sense when you think medical wise. Anything that's gonna break open the skin. So any like knife play, scratching, needle play, anything that's gonna break open the skin and cause you to bleed. And here's why. When you're pregnant, your immune system is lowered. So you have a much higher risk of getting some kind of infection, which brings a whole load of risks to your baby and to yourself. So nothing that breaks open the skin. There you go. Ideally, nothing that's going to cut off circulation anywhere in your body. So like rope bondage is a thing. You can play a little bit with rope bondage, that's fine. Do keep in mind that our bodies, when you're pregnant, they swell. You actually get up to 50% more blood in your system by your 3rd trimester. You're very swollen, you have a lot of fluid happening. So if you're tied up, just make sure it's really, really light and you're not losing circulation anywhere. And even that's like risk aware. Risk aware means like you're aware of the risks and you're willing to take them. A tiny bit of super, super light bondage might be okay. Just as long as nothing is tight enough to cause any marks or lose circulation anywhere on your body. Not good for baby. Ooh, I've got some comments. I'm going to start reading them. Mermaid, yes. Because any kind of infection would not be good. Yeah, nothing that's going to break the skin open. Your immune system is lowered. Just avoid it at all costs if you can. Adam Ogre says inflammatory response. And the baby has even lower immune response than you. See, look, I love my fellow kinky nerds. Love it. Christy says, funny, but on the topic story, I used my wand vibe a lot during my 3rd pregnancy. The only way she would sleep was to prop the vibe up on her bassinet mattress and let it run for 2 to 3 minutes. Are you serious? Okay, that's amazing. That's hilarious. That's like a good story to tell when your kids are older. And Mermaid, oh my God, Christy, that's hilarious. That is really funny. I love that. Thank you. That's parenting at its best, like right there. I love it. Okay, so yeah, nothing that's gonna break circulation. I gotta try to think. And here's a really big one, just to be careful. Nothing that's going to jar the body too much. Like obviously when, you know, if you're having sex or you're doing what, you're gonna definitely be like rocking. And like I said earlier, that can actually rock the baby to sleep if there's some kind of rocking motion, but nothing hard enough to like, I mean, if you're gonna do like a little bit of spanking, that's fine. You know, beating each other with like heavy, blunt instruments, maybe not so much. Even if it's not on the stomach, if you're like really beating someone's acid, like enough to really jar them or punching them, that's like, it's not good for the baby to be like totally jarred. It can really be super distressing for them. So, yeah, those are big ones. I mentioned it in my Hump Day Q&A. Sorry, not Hump Day Q&A. Morning Sex with Robin. I think that was yesterday. I'm sorry. I'm like exhausted, okay? Parent life, seriously. Yeah, yesterday in my Morning Sex with Robin, I had mentioned, but didn't really tell the story about how I was interrupted during a scene while I was pregnant. And I can give more details on that now. It was, I was quite pregnant and really craving some pain. I am a masochist. I really enjoy it. It wasn't anything super intense. Basically, we had very, very soft, very loose bondage things on my wrist. And I had my arms up like that against the wall. I was totally comfortable. I had something in my hand that I could drop if I needed. Like, we had very thoroughly negotiated everything. And it was somebody who was using a single tail just to whip. And when I say whip, I know some people that may not be familiar with whipping. It's not always really intense like you see in the movies or at the circus. It was like just the tip. And it was almost like a tickle, but a tiny pinch of pain. It felt so good. It was very, very nice. It was almost like a tickle against my back and against my buttocks. I was loving it. I was having a great time. It just felt really nice and it was very relaxing. I know some people might be like, how is being whipped relaxing? I mean, we can talk about that another time. But I was very relaxed and I was just like euphoric. It was amazing. And somebody came up to me and was like, your hands are tied up and you're getting whipped and you're pregnant and look, your hand is blue. And it was really inappropriate to stop a scene like that. It's never okay to stop a scene. Seriously. And the only people that should stop your scene are trained like leaders, maybe a DMC or someone that's in charge, and it's only supposed to be like if there's a major, you know, major injury or death is imminent. So don't ever interrupt a scene. But yeah, and my hand wasn't blue, it was the lights. Like we legit looked and I was like, there was no constriction on my wrist. It was totally loose and we were like, it's fine. And after our scene, people kept coming up to me and being like, aren't you worried about your baby? Like, isn't that really irresponsible? Aren't you? And I was just like, I really half regretted playing in public at a party while pregnant because I felt like everyone was judging me. The other half that didn't regret it was like, no, you can do this. It's okay. You have to be knowledgeable of the risks. You have to be knowledgeable of your body. Talk to your doctor, midwife, your OB, whoever. I wasn't doing anything that put the babies anything at risk. I was essentially getting a little tickle on my buttocks and it was fine. That's my rant. Yeah, okay, I gotta scroll down here because I got a few things. Oh yeah, Mermaid says, a little bit of jarring is okay. Oh, I gotta scroll again. The baby's got a good shock absorption system, but major play would not be the best idea. Exactly. So like a little bit of the rocking, like having sex and stuff, that's fine. But nothing that's gonna make you like really jar you. That's also really uncomfortable when you're pregnant. Mermaid also says, how incredibly rude of them. It was really rude. I was very upset. It totally wrecked. Like it really interrupted things. And I was just like, it kind of killed the mood a little bit, honestly. Christy, the lack of education is frustrating. I'm sorry that happened to you. Thank you. I mean, it's okay. I was really frustrated. I understood why. I knew that they had obviously good intentions, but I was also like, this is my body. I know what I'm doing. Are you aware of pregnancy and kink? Probably not. You were probably just scared. Yeah. And Mermaid says, I got the same sort of comments at the gym while pregnant. Mermaid, do you mind like elaborating on that? Were people saying like, well, you shouldn't be working out. Is that okay for your baby? Can people mind their own fucking business? Like, unless you're like, you have imminent injury or death, I think you should mind your own fucking business. This is why I'm here, because I want to share to people. If you see somebody that is pregnant and playing, it's fine. And mind your own business. Mermaid says, how many times I was told I would hurt the baby while working out. Are you kidding? Working out is like, assuming you're healthy and able to do so, it's actually really good for you and your baby. I remember, a friend of mine, I was like carrying something for them and they were like, don't carry that small suitcase for me, you're pregnant. And I was like, it's fine, like I can do this. And they were like, no, if you were my wife, I'd have you like wrapped in bubble wrap and on the couch and you wouldn't be able to move for 9 months. And I was like, that's not very good for you, actually. Some exercise is good. I appreciate that you're like carrying and it's really sweet, but exercise is fine, assuming you're healthy enough to do so. Christy says it doesn't matter what you do while pregnant or parenting, someone will have something to say. Oh my God, that's so true. So true. I'm sorry, but it's true. Mermaid says, I got told that I shouldn't be working out, that I was lifting too much. Ugh. That's such bullshit. That's bullshit. I'm sorry that happened. Mermaid, I'm pregnant, not sick. Thank you. That is actually one of the major reasons I didn't go into maternity when it came to nursing, because I was like, these people are not patients. They're not sick. They shouldn't be treated as such. Anyways, that's a whole other rant. I do want to talk a little bit about, unless people have other questions and stuff. And again, I'm not pregnant, so I'm just going to have some wine. I had a mug wrapped in bubble wrap while pregnant. It's a human baby, not a butterfly. Yeah, that's what they said, and it was like really sweet. They thought, I'm just going to want to wrap you in bubble wrap and you're not going to be able to move. You're going to stay in there and I'll take care of you for 9 months. And I was like, I understand where that's coming from. That's not actually good for me or the baby. Having said that, exercise and all that other stuff is not necessarily healthy for everyone. For my first pregnancy, I actually got put on pelvic rest. I'm going to explain what it is because it really sucks. I ended up at a very early stage in my first pregnancy getting a ton of really intense contractions, like way too early. And I had to go to the hospital a couple times because we were like, crap, is this labor? Like a lot. There was a ton happening. And so I was deemed high risk for premature labor. And so my midwife put me on pelvic rest. Pelvic rest means no penetration of the vagina, not with fingers, not with toys, not with a penis, and no orgasms. I'm just gonna let that sink. No vaginal penetration, no fingers, no toys, no penis, and no orgasms. It's about as much fun as it sounds. Christy Hall, and the baby's already wrapped in its own natural bubble wrap. It's the wound. Yes, there's lots of fluid in there. There's lots of protection. Baby's okay. It's all right. And Mermaid, I remember this with your first pregnancy, that I had to go on pelvic rest. That was not a good time. That was not fun. And I'm going to be honest, like later near the end, I kind of cheated a couple times. In the end, I basically justified it by being like, I am more stressed now than like I would be if I had an orgasm. So I was getting like so agitated and so stressed out. I was like, I'll just have a quick one, just a quick little one. So I admit I did cheat a couple of times. Probably shouldn't have, but I mean, it was fine. I ended up having my baby at 40 weeks and 2 days. So once we reached that 37 full-term mark, he wouldn't come out. So I was like, damn it. He's fine. He's healthy. But yeah, there were definitely some complications. And anytime I did any kind of strenuous exercise, like just walking a lot, honestly, or just like lifting things or trying to clean the house, I would start to get contractions. So I was put on pelvic rest and like kind of partial bed rest. I was basically told to stay sitting whenever possible. So they're like, you can go out, you can do these things, but like at any time you are available to, you should be sitting or lying in bed. So that sucked. That's how I took up crocheting because I was bored. I couldn't masturbate. And yeah, so I was basically doing lots of Lord of the Rings marathons while crocheting. That was basically how I spent a lot of my first pregnancy. Christy, I used orgasms to encourage labor at the end. I did too. Once I hit 37 weeks and I was done, I just like masturbated nonstop. It was great. It was great. It's good times. Adam Ogre, I've heard doctors prescribing orgasms to help induce labor. There's a reason for that, and I kind of want to go into it now. Okay. Oh, here we go. Oxytocin. If any of you have been to my pain processing class, my pain processing workshop, it's all about the different endorphins and hormones that go through your body when you're in pain, based on your mental state. If you want to see this class, tell an event organizer that you want this workshop because I love it. It's super nerdy, but not hard to follow. Okay, so oxytocin is the big hormone that you want to look for when it comes to labor. What happens is when there's a little bit of oxytocin, it encourages the uterus to, you know, start labor, which is when it kind of squeezes like a muscle. It's intense. When you're in labor, your stomach will become like rock hard because your muscles are squeezing super hard. And it's painful. Yes, labor is supposed to be painful because when you're relaxed and in pain, and this is where masochists also have their fun, when you're relaxed and in pain, more oxytocin will be released throughout your body. More oxytocin means stronger contractions, means more dilation, means you're closer and closer to giving birth, and it becomes more and more painful and everything opens more and more and the baby comes out. That is how that works. The highest level any human being the highest level of oxytocin that any human being has ever experienced in the history of the human race is someone that has just given birth. It's an outrageous amount of oxytocin that's in our body. Now, what does oxytocin do other than that physical stuff? Oxytocin is responsible for receptiveness, bonding, euphoria, and either like sensual or like lovey feelings. So when you've got a human being that's just had a baby and they have the highest levels of oxytocin known to mankind, they have their baby. Receptiveness, bonding, love, euphoria. That's also what we experience during sex. Oxytocin levels increase when we're having sex and when we're in pain and relaxed, which is what a lot of kinksters do, which is why they say, you know, there's a very strong bond between a top and a bottom, even if it's just that one time playing or if it's been years. Because that pain, yes, the love hormone, oxytocin is known as the love hormone. Thank you, Mermaid. When a top and bottom are playing and there's pain involved, it creates receptiveness, bonding, euphoria, and like lovey-dovey feelings. That's also what happens during sex, creating a strong bond between the partners having sex. That's what happens when you have a baby, creating an incredibly strong bond between the parent and the baby. So, in order to get yourself into labor, sometimes you just need a little dose of oxytocin. And that's actually what they do when they induce labor. They use a synthetic oxytocin. And the problem with that is they don't know exactly how much you need. So if you have too much, the uterus squeezes too hard, baby can't breathe as well, and they go into distress. So that's why there are increased risks when you induce labor. I mean, sometimes you need it. I needed it to a certain extent. But yeah, so that's why sex can often induce labor, because you are increasing your oxytocin levels, which might increase those like cramps. Yeah, Pitocin is the devil. Yeah. Don't get me started on that. I will go ranting. I love this topic. I will say though, Pitocin or synthetic oxytocin increases your likelihood of a C-section by 50%. Because that's what happens. They'll increase the Pitocin or the synthetic oxytocin just a tiny bit. And then it's like, oh, the contractions are being too strong and it might put the baby in distress. So then they'll increase the epidural to relax things. And then it gets too relaxed and labor slows down. And they like slowly increase and increase and increase. And then your baby's in distress and they have to do a C-section. That's the long and short of it. So I feel like I'm covering a lot and it's already past 8 o'clock. I'm ready for bed soon. But, yeah, that's a lot of what I have. If anyone has any other questions or anything to add, I could seriously talk about this for hours. There's a lot of information on this topic. I want to say when it comes to sex, obviously, if you're not into it, it sucks, but like that's the reality of the situation. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Lots of pillows. Pillows are your friend, especially when you get really pregnant. You just stuff pillows everywhere. I really enjoyed doing kind of like a doggy style, but like I would just grab pillows and like hold on to them like this, and it was really comfortable. Or like being on your side is really good, and like holding a lot of pillows again, whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever feels good. This morning for the morning sex with Robin, when Brandon joined me, he had a really great point. He said that, and this was something that like kind of came back to me when he mentioned it. He said, it's like the first time, or sorry, every time should be treated like the first time. When it came to sex or kink, because your hormones are all over the place. You have no idea. I didn't even know what food I would like. Honestly, people would be like, hey, is chicken okay? And I'd be like, honestly, I don't know. You have to put it in front of me. And you'd put it in front of me, and either I'd be like, oh yeah, I don't know, this is good. Yeah, and I'd eat it. Or I'd be like, mm-mm. But I wouldn't know until you put it in front of me. So I felt like sex and kink was like that a lot with pregnancy. And when I played with friends or partners, I would just say, just think about it like as if you're playing with me for the first time. Because you can't always anticipate how things are going to feel, even like things on your skin. There are times things feel really good and really heightened, and others where I'm like, ugh, no, don't touch me. Your mood changes, even like your genitals and how they feel things change. The way things taste and smell can be very, very strong. So that's constantly changing, and just treat it that way. Be like, that was the best way that I did it. I was like, okay, I'm doing this for the first time. Taking it with that kind of bit of knowledge, knowing, without that expectation, and being like, let's see if I like this today. If I don't, that's okay. And try not to get too upset if something you normally like doing wasn't enjoyable, or vice versa. It's just like, treat it like it's the first time. Mermaid says, yep, I also found it especially later hard to get in the right position. Yeah, it is difficult. Pillows are your friend. Christy says, side sex, yes, was amazing while pregnant for me. Side sex, highly recommend. Mermaid, at the end, I just gave up because nothing was comfortable. That's, especially later in the game, yes. That's probably the hardest thing, is just to be comfortable. You were so uncomfortable, like really late in the game. Totally. Mermaid says, moods can change in a snap. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Our hormones are all over the place. Mermaid also says, and I struggled with body changes as well. Yes, before and after baby. Yeah, not just physically, but like emotionally. Things can be really difficult. Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. That is a tough one. I felt very, I want to say dysphoric near the end of my pregnancy. I would like look in the mirror and I wouldn't recognize who was there. And I struggled with that a little bit. I'd be like, I don't even know who this is in the mirror, and it felt very strange. Mermaid, I have given birth inside sex position. Oh, I'm so envious. I'm envious. I ended up with 2 C-sections. My first, and this will be a story I share before I go. My first pregnancy, like I said, it was pretty complicated. Labor was going really well. Total 36 hours. The first 24 hours, honestly, was a breeze. Ish. I actually enjoyed it. I was in my home, I was relaxed, doing my own thing, and then we had to go to the hospital. I kind of wanted to give birth in my home, I really did, but it ended up not working out, and I was like, that's fine. Risk assessment is important. So we went to the hospital, and the baby, I could feel his head. He was right there. His head was coming out, and he got very, very stuck. Like really, really stuck. And they tried the forceps, it didn't work. And so I ended up having to have an emergency C-section. My uterus actually tore. I had to go under. It was like a whole thing. Baby was fine. I was the one that suffered the most, honestly. So the funny story I did want to share was when the baby's there, like really stuck and starting to get into distress, the OB said to me, you know, he's really stuck, like really stuck. We're probably gonna have to do a C-section. If you like, we can try forceps first. I don't think it's gonna work, but if you want, we can try. If you want to do that, then I want to prep you for a C-section because I would rather be able to do it quickly. And so I said, yeah, I would. I mean, why not? Let's try the forceps. Oh, video's reconnecting. Sorry, it looked like it was a connection issue. Anyways, so I said, yes, let's try the forceps, prep me, whatever. And as we're getting ready, my midwife leans in and she said, Robin, I want you to be able to have the forceps birth if possible. So I need you to be pushing. I had already been pushing for 2 hours. I need you to be really, really pushing because the further down your baby is, the more likely the forceps delivery is going to work. So this is the funny part. I barely remember, but it happened. I was rolling through the hallway from my room to the surgical, like the OR or the theater or whatever you call it. They were rolling me and my legs were up here and I was pushing with all my might as I'm being rolled through the hallway where like everyone could see me and I didn't give 2 shits. I was, and later I thought that must have been really strange for the people that saw me like with my legs in the air trying to push this baby and screaming and pushing. And even when we got to the OR, one of the nurses there, he was like ready to move me over onto the OR bed from my bed that they rolled me on. And I was in the middle of contractions and I was pushing. And I was like, wait, I'm pushing. And I was pushing. And he was like, is she supposed to be pushing? And the midwife was like, it's fine, give her a minute. So it didn't occur, because I didn't give 2 shits at the time. I wasn't even thinking about it. But later I was like, they actually rolled me through the hall with my legs in the air, with my vagina like opening and the baby's head there. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. So that must have been a sight. I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna just point out, Christy said 4 births, no epidural, total 22 hours with all 4 combined. You fucking superhero, that's amazing. My body reacted bad to Pitocin, I'm sorry to hear that. So my youngest was born under blankets with no doctor. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. That's intense. Good for you, seriously, wow. It is no easy feat having a baby. Like, I know it happens every day, but seriously, it is no fucking easy feat. Christy Robin is scary. It was really scary. But I mean, I'm healthy and my babies are healthy, so it all worked out. And I didn't have a hospital bill. Canadian. Adam Ogre, it's a hospital. Prudes can deal. Oh, no. Pregnant woman in a vagina. Oh, no. Yeah. Grow up, normies, lol. Well, I mean, it was in the maternity ward, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't that abnormal. It was just something that didn't occur to me in the moment of what was happening. So, oh, I was going to go, but actually I do want to mention real quick. Post-birth, after you have a baby, they say, I mean, whenever you're comfortable with it, really. That's kind of what most healthcare workers will tell you. If you're wanting to have sex and it feels good, it's probably okay. It's estimated with a C-section, I believe I was told 6 to 8 weeks. I think we did it around 6, and it was still kind of not quite comfortable, so we stopped and we waited a couple more weeks. Vaginal birth, I believe. Now I'm trying to remember. Who had a vaginal birth? What did they say? 4 weeks? Not even. Probably less than that. It'd probably be like 2-3 weeks. It's fine as long as it's comfortable. Christy, hey now, you and your no medical bills, get out. Come to Canada. I've had 4 surgeries and never had to pay a bill. Much mewing, that sounds like quite the ordeal. I'm glad it all worked out. Yeah, me too, honestly. And you know what, if it makes anyone feel a little bit better, my second birth was a planned C-section because my uterus tore. They said it wasn't advisable for me to be in labor because the tearing had happened really close to my cervix, and so they said it was dangerous at that point for me to be in labor. So I had a planned C-section. I was nervous, but it was so smooth. It was so quick and easy. It actually went really well, and it was kind of validating. Yeah. Mermaid, oh man, I didn't want my husband touching me for ages after I gave birth. Understandable. And then she said, oh, 6 weeks. Okay. Christy says 4 to 6 weeks. Oh, because of infection. Christy, I'm always in Canada. I'd move if I could. And Adam Ogre, I might move to Canada for grad school. Do it. Do it. Tuition's still a bitch here, but Christy, you should come. You should, Adam. It's really great up there. It's not perfect, but I mean, like I said, I've had 4 surgeries and I've never paid a medical bill. It's not perfect. We have our issues, but it's better than some places. Okay. It's already pretty late. I've been doing this for a long time because, like I said, I could talk hours on this topic. Really, truly. I'm actually going to be doing another one. My friend Megan and I will do another one. I'll be like, Megan, let's do this, and we'll get it together, and we'll make it happen, because I want to hear more about her experience. I shared a lot of mine. Yeah. Christy Hall, my youngest first year was $200K. Are you fucking serious? Is that how much it costs to have a baby in the United States? What? What? Adam Ogre, sleep well. See you next month. Oh yeah, I'm going to Boise, Idaho really soon. First weekend of November. Much me and good night. Mermaid, yes, sorry. I couldn't go live this time. It's okay. You were here and I appreciate you and feel better. It's okay. I love you all. Have a good night. I'm going to bed. And let me know. Oh, Christy, I'm sorry. Okay, November 1st to the 4th. I'm going to be in Boise, Idaho doing, it's like an all women's kink thing where they have like a dom track and a bottom / sub track. And I'm going to be teaching the top track. I'll get you some info. I should be posting that stuff soon. Adam Ogre, a child in America is less than a PhD. Y'all. Yeah, femdom intensive. Thank you. That's, yeah. I will send you info, and I'm going to be posting a lot of that soon. Because starting November, I've got a lot more trips coming up. Either way, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Really seriously, thank you. I love this topic, and I just love interacting with folks. Let me know if you have a question or a topic you want me to talk about on Hump Day Q&A. And other than that, have a good night. I'm going to bed. I'm going to sleep. Thank Thank you so much for joining. Mwah, 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 mwah. Good night. I'll see y'all later. Good night.